Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 3 of the virtual FBA training. This section's all about the required components of an FBA and different data collection methods. So what are the requirements of an FBA? We need data on the target behaviors, and that data includes the antecedents, what happens right before the target behaviors, as well as the consequences, what happens right after those target behaviors. So what do we like to know about those target behaviors? We like to know the frequency, the duration, and in some cases, the severity. The frequency is the tallying or the number of times that behavior occurs during a specific time period. Duration is the amount of time that a target behavior occurs for, whether that be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 20 minutes. And severity, we like to use a rating scale, an objective rating scale set before the target behavior observation period to help us know the severity of that behavior. So sometimes for physical aggression, we might have a 5 be an open wound or blood observed, and we might have 1 just be a small mark. And how can we get this different type of data? There are different data collection methods we like to use. There's direct and indirect ways to get this data. Direct observations are when we are directly observing, we are using our own eyes to observe the target behavior and collect our data. And different types of that are ABC data, frequency recording, taking those tallies of when we see it happening, interval recording, or duration recording. And we will show different slides of those soon. And then there's also indirect data collection methods, and that's when we're using our ears instead of our eyes to gather information about those target behaviors. So we can interview the parents or the teacher to get more information, or we can review data, we can review attendance or grades, different types of data collected on that target behavior previously. And there's a lot of really great resources on the Rum River Special Education website, so you can click that link below to get some of those resources as well. So here we are going to go over some of those direct observation methods. The first two are ABC data and scatter plots. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with ABC data. We take data on the antecedents, which is what happens right before the target behavior. We write down what behavior we're observing, and then we also write down the consequence or what happened right after the behavior occurred. Scatter plots help us know what time of day the behavior is more likely to occur. So we see that in the first row, Mondays, it looks like it's really likely to occur in the morning. Tuesdays, it looks like it's really likely to occur in the morning and in the chunk of the afternoon as well. And then those black marks show when it's more likely to occur for that student in that target behavior. Frequency and duration recording. The top one is going to be our frequency recording, and that's those tallies again, showing us that at 9:30 a.m. at math class, that behavior that they were observing occurred 7 times. And then with our duration recording, it says that at 10 o'clock the behavior started, and at 10:06 the behavior ended, showing us that it lasted a period of 6 minutes. Interval recording. There are 3 different types of interval recording that we can use, whether that be partial interval, whole interval, or momentary time sampling, which I will go over with you in a second here. And these are really good when we don't have the necessary resources to continuously be observing a behavior. Like with tallying, you have to continuously be observing. These are really nice if you just want to watch the behavior, record it, go do something else, and then come watch the behavior again. The first step in any of these samples or any of these collection methods is to pick how long you want that interval to be for. This one is going to be 30 seconds, but I've also seen them be a minute or 10 minutes, however long you guys decide. The next is to choose the target behavior, on task, physical aggression, vocal noise, whatever is needed for this student. So for partial interval, after that first interval occurs, you would check it if it happened at all during the interval. So within those 30 seconds, if that on-task behavior happened even for 2 seconds, you'd say, yep, it happened, check it off. For whole interval, you would need to record it if it happened for that entire 30 seconds. If it's happening for the whole interval, then you'd check it. Momentary's time sampling is really nice because you just look up right at the end of the interval. So if your interval is 30 seconds, you just look up right at the end of the 30 seconds and you're, yep, the student's on task, give it a check. So if your intervals are 10 minutes, you just look up right at the end of your 10 minutes, yep, the student's on task, check it off. And this one's really nice too because it also gives a peer comparison. So that second one, the blue one on the bottom, is when you're comparing that target student's behavior to a peer to kind of compare their data at the end. Some indirect observation methods. We have the FAIT, the Functional Assessment Interview Tool. And there's two different forms for this one. You can give it to a staff or you can give it to a parent to fill out this information and get a different perspective on a target behavior. There's the FAST, the Functional Analysis Screening Tool. Again, it's kind of like an interview. You give it to a staff member and they fill it out and it helps you find the function of a behavior. The MAS, the Motivation Assessment Scale. Again, more questions. These are also really nice because they help you get a different perspective than something you might see in the classroom. Oops, sorry. You're going wonky on me. So for this one, when you're recording the scores at the end, the number 2 question and the number 9 question, the 2 would go with the 2, and that would help you know that it's an escape function. And the 9 would go with the 9, and that would help you know that it's a sensory function. So you just plug in those numbers in those boxes at the end, and that helps you know which function is more prevalent for that behavior. So how do I know which data collection method to use? Because that's a ton of data collection methods, and I don't know which one. So we need to consider the target behavior and what concerns that we may have about it. Is it lasting a really long time, disrupting a bunch of their day? Is it super intense? Is it occurring at the same times of day? Or is it occurring really frequently? Each of these concerns will help us know what type of data we want. If it's lasting a really long time, we might want to take duration data to help us see if that duration is going down if we start an intervention. If it's occurring really frequently, we might want to take frequency data or tally data to help us know if those number of occurrences go down after we implement an intervention. So going back to those triggers and antecedents, so what typically happens before the target behavior occurs? That's that A piece in the ABC data. This would be events, situations, demands placed right before that target behavior. And consequences, what typically happens following the target behaviors? Does the student get out of something that they don't want to do? Are they gaining access to something else? Are they gaining access to staff attention or peer attention? Are they gaining access to a toy? So more for data collection planning. Direct observations, that's us watching the behavior. An advantage of this is it's super objective and measurable. Indirect observations, that's us, again, hearing about the behavior, interviewing. And this helps us gather information from individuals that work with the student really often. And if possible, we can get the individual's own opinion as well, which is really great. And again, a different perspective. Collecting and analyzing the data. We want to collect data for at least 3 to 4 weeks. And some of the reasons for that are it allows for more consistent observations and analysis of patterns. And it allows for enough time to collect our data. Sometimes the student's gone or sometimes the student's sick, and this helps us have enough time to collect all the data that we need. Some things to consider, some environmental factors that we might want to consider, lighting, noise level. Maybe if it's too loud in there for one observation, that may affect the student. Proximity to another staff or student. Accessibility to supplies, maybe they don't have what they need to finish the assignment or the direction given. The number of students and staff in the room. What are the requirements, expectations, or rules? Is the demand given clear enough? Do they know what they're supposed to do? Are they able to do it? And how does the student compare to other peers? Are we thinking that this peer is very disruptive, but a lot of the other students are as well? Sometimes it's nice to compare and see how equal or different the target behaviors are per target behavior, per target student, and comparison peer. And how do peers and teachers react to the target behavior? Are we giving them a lot of attention for it, which might incidentally reinforce that behavior? Just some things to consider when observing different target behaviors. So that's what I have for the segment 3. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and if you have any questions, reach out to any of the behavior analysts. Thanks.